I'm writing this journal entry to document my experience with a certain film. I'm probably already dead if anyone is reading this, but I implore you to please read on. I hate Saki Sanobashi and what it has done to my life. Most importantly, I hate the depraved bastards who made it. Until recently, I've been an average college girl with only one notable quality. I love searching for lost media. Most people get a thrill from watching a good horror movie, and I'm no different with lost media. There's just something about the elusive nature of it that makes the hunt so fascinating. There's a countless amount of entertainment that vanishes from the public eye for whatever reason, and many remain completely forgotten. That never sat well with me. Maybe it's the history buff in me, but I truly believe every form of content should be preserved. You know, it's scary to think that something that brings you joy could one day be forever lost to time. Saki Sanobashi is a name that's been plaguing me for the last few years now. Every lost media enthusiast worth their salt has at least heard of it if they haven't already joined the hunt. I'm one of the several archivists who plunged headfirst into this monstrosity of a goose chase. And I, like many others, got hooked on its tragic premise of a bunch of schoolgirls trapped in a bathroom where death is the only way out. The morbid curiosity in all of us compelled us to search high and low for this elusive anime, and that was years ago. Now, Saki remains a distant memory in the minds of once optimistic researchers. Dead end after dead end had led the entire thing being labeled as some elaborate hoax. Even I began losing faith in the search despite all the time I invested in it, and it was disheartening knowing that one of the most fascinating lost media searches of all time could be fake. I would have quit entirely had it not been for that one fateful afternoon. It was a typical brutal winter in Toronto, which meant that a snowstorm would be picking up before the day was over. I thought it best to go to my favorite comic and stock up on my favorite books before the storm trapped me at home with my girlfriend. Marquis Noir was different from other comic shops, in that there exists a secret section of the store only a select few know about. And because I've been a loyal customer for a few years, the owner trusted in showing me the back room. I was hesitant at first to enter a secluded room alone with a man due to obvious reasons, but I figured he wouldn't try anything with customers still in the store. What I saw in that room was the stuff of wonder. Several shelves were stocked with underground comics so obscure, even the most hardcore archivists probably didn't even know about them. The type of comics you can't even find on the internet. And, it was heaven on earth for a lost media-obsessed girl like me. The original post mentioned Saki being an anime, but I was desperate for any type of media out there. And what's fascinating is that there were also movies stocked with the comics. The cover art on each DVD case was, understandably, incredibly low quality, to the point where I assumed that the store owner, rather, handmade them himself. There were no ISBNs, any distributor info anywhere to be found, so my theory seemed fairly likely, all things considered. I filled my bag with as many items as I could afford, which isn't a lot for a broke college student, but, and excitedly swiped my card at the counter. The store owner gave me the weirdest of grins as I made my purchase. He seemed amused, but almost in a mocking sort of way. He hardly ever emotes in the first place, so that smile really caught me off guard. I left the store and boarded the closest train to drop me off at the dorms. Though Halloween comes in the autumn, I feel like winter is the most ideal season to indulge in horror. The cold weather is like a reflection of the spine-chilling fear I get whenever I read a good comic. But anyway, just being poetic, I stepped inside my dorm room and immediately began browsing through my latest collection. They all looked so good, I didn't know where to begin. And as I rummaged through the pile of DVDs, I noticed something that threw me for a loop. One DVD case was completely blank. The cover was pitch black, and so was the back. There wasn't even anything on the spine. I couldn't imagine myself buying something like this, so how it ended up with me was a mystery. But still, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't the least bit intrigued by it. I mean, there could have literally been anything on that disc, and the only way to find out was to start the movie. I waited for my girlfriend to return from campus before starting it. Emily's a cute brunette, but she has zero tolerance for horror. She always shrieks her head off whenever I play my movies in the living room, all that blood and gore driving her crazy. She greeted me with a kiss on the lips and then paused when she saw the devious smirk on my face. She already knew what I had in store for her. Emily, of course, protested, but I pleaded with her to watch the movie with me. Seeing her scream like a child over on screen murder was sometimes more enjoyable than the movie itself. Well, she remained firm in her stance against it, but eventually broke down after enough of my begging. It feels good, having things my way. I quickly inserted the DVD into an old game station and stared at the screen with anticipation for what was about to start. After several seconds of a blank screen, some Japanese text appeared with an English subtitle that read, Requiem of the Lost Girls. The title naturally left me curious, so I watched on with excitement. The screen would then fade to black, and back again. And what I saw after that made my blood freeze solid. 3 girls, schoolgirls, in a bathroom. All of them had miserable looks of utter despair. The scene was unmistakable. It was a scenario I ran over in my head countless times. It was Saki Sanobashi, the anime I searched years for. And having the legendary film before me after all this time was almost too good to be true. And to think it would come from my favorite comic shop. I've been shopping for years now, and never even had a hint something like Saki would be there. Emily was confused as to why I was so excited, so I told her we just discovered the holy grail of lost media. The gravity of the situation was unsurprisingly lost on her, but she smiled anyway for my sake, and we watched the movie unfold just like the legend went. The girls remained trapped in the bathroom and lamented their misfortune all the while. And as the film progressed, the agony in their expressions became increasingly visceral. Their eyes looked so hollow, their skin was so pale. Emily clutched into my hand with a hint of anxiety in her eyes. The tone of the video was much more somber than I expected, seeing the girls take turns telling the others about their hopes and dreams, trying desperately to alleviate their situation. Felt oddly melancholic. I was growing attached to these characters to the point I hoped they'd find a way despite that going against the lore. We eventually reached the part where the girls realized there truly was no way out of their situation except for death. and their deaths were just as horrid as I expected them to be. One girl goaded one of the others into drowning her in the sink, and another clawed at her own neck with visceral detail. The most painful part of it all was the blood-curdling scream the last girl emitted as she bashed her head against the wall. It was far more realistic than it had any right to be. And despite all the fear, my heart raced with excitement. I had to write a blog post to let everyone know about my discovery. The internet would go wild once I told them the good news. I quickly went to my Tumblr to start writing, but the site wouldn't load. Frustrated, I tried other social media sites, but nothing was working. I tried stepping outside in the hall to get better reception, but the door wouldn't budge. The knob didn't move at all, no matter how hard I pulled. My girlfriend and I were both freaking out at this point. We tried opening windows, calling 911, and banging on doors, all of which were in vain. We were somehow completely severed from the outside world. I wondered how the hell was any of this possible when the image of the movie flashed into my mind. That we were trapped. Just like the girls. And so far we've spent 2 weeks in this apartment. Food has long since run out, and any sense of hope is dead. It pains me to see Emily's body as pale as winter, her eyes devoid of life. Neither of us can last much longer, and I'm writing this document as a warning to anyone searching for Saki Sanobashi. Stay the hell away from it. It's a cursed film that dooms its viewers that suffer the same fate as the girls in the bathroom. I imagine the curse will be lifted once we die and our belongings will be collected by our loved ones. I mean, hopefully they'll see this document and spread the news. Maybe they'll brush this off as the crazed rantings of a lunatic, but I honestly don't know anymore. All I can say is to stay safe and never attempt to watch this damned movie.